If you like Dollar Tree and you like thrifting, you're gonna like this one. We're taking some thrifted pieces and giving them a fresh little makeover with Dollar Tree supplies. So let's get started. When I was at the thrift store, it had so many wreaths, but this little grapevine one with the greenery really stood out to me. It was such a good base to work with, and it was half off, and I got it for a couple of dollars. I'm going to add some pretty flowers to the wreath, and I'm using Dollar Tree florals. They had so many nice ones to choose from, and I just pulled the flowers off of one of the bouquets that I had, which I thought would look really good on the wreath. I really like how the grapevine part looked on the back, and so I decided to do it a little different and use that side as the front. Of course, the other side is just as pretty, but the greenery still peeks out and it still has so much fullness. Before I start attaching the flowers, I thought it would look really nice to add a little wood sign across the center. I decided to go with this hello sign from Dollar Tree, and it's just wide enough to fit across. Now I'm just adjusting those metal wires that's holding up the greenery. I realized that they were poking out, so I'm just positioning them, twisting those ends to the back so you can't see it. I'll be painting the hello word in this khaki color chalk paint, which personally I think looks a bit more taupe. Once that dries, I'm lightly sanding over it just to distress and weather it a bit. To attach the wreath, I'm just applying some hot glue on the ends of the word and placing it right in the center. For the flowers, I decided to just place 3 in the bottom, and I'm just tucking those into the wreath and securing it with hot glue. Towards the top, I'm adding a smaller flower just to balance everything out, and then I'm tucking in a few tiny florals on each side to soften it. You can hang it directly on a wreath hanger or use a ribbon or rope to hang, and this one is all done. I picked up this large 16 by 20 inch canvas from the frame aisle at my local thrift store, and it came in a pack of 2, and I already used one in a previous DIY. It was such a good deal. I think it was only $2.99. Now this project is going to be an optional continuation of the previous one. So first, I'm going to remove the staples, and I'm using my heavy-duty staple remover to pop them out. If you don't have one, you can also use a regular staple remover and some pliers to pull them out. I'm removing the canvas from the frame because I only need the wooden frame for this DIY, but I'm definitely saving the canvas for a future project. There are a couple of staples in the corners of the frame, so I'm just going to remove those. I'm not too worried about the little holes since I'll be covering this part anyway, but I'm going to sand it down just a bit to smooth everything out. Now my plan is to paint this white, but distress it and let some of that wood show through so it looks a bit weathered. But I want the wood underneath to be darker for contrast, and so I'm mixing apple barrel burnt umber with a little water and brushing it on like a stain. And you know, this is looking really beautiful and rustic as is, and so I'm definitely having second thoughts about painting it white at this point. So in the corners, I'll be placing these ornate metallic stickers from Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these. They have that embossed raised detail, and they're so pretty. So I'm just placing them in the corners to see how they fit, and I think they're perfect. They do go slightly past the wood, but I actually like that look. Originally, my plan was to paint this white and give it a weathered finish, including the stickers. This was a vision in my head, but you know what? I'm really liking how it's looking right now, so I'm a little undecided about painting it because once it's done, there's no going back. So I'm going to flip it over and paint the back white first, just to test it out before fully committing. I'm using some leftover sample paint that I had. It's not fully white, it has a bit of gray to it, and I'm just dry brushing that over the frame. Now I'm being really careful about not getting too much on the sides, because if I don't like it, you're gonna see that white bleed over to the other side. But you know what, at this point, I'm already kind of preferring the wood. Now I'm going to be hanging the wreath from the prior DIY on the frame. So before finishing the back, I just wanted to get a glimpse of what it would look like, so I'm holding the frame over the wreath to see how it looks. I'll be tying the wreath onto the frame with some ribbon or lace, keeping it simple and just leaning it. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with the stained side. I thought I'd add a little more detail, and I'll be using 6 of these paint stir sticks that I got at my local hardware store. I thought I'd trim the paint sticks to fit diagonally on the corners of the frame with 2 on each corner. So I'm just measuring, marking, and then trimming them down with a miter box and saw. I'll be painting these in that same white grayish shade and gluing them onto the back. So I'm marking the area I don't want to paint since that's where the glue will go, and then I paint them. By the way, if you're enjoying this DIY so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know down in the comments what you'd like me to DIY next. I always love hearing your ideas. Okay, once that's all painted, I'm going to start gluing it onto the back. Now I did cut out a small triangle with some cardstock, and then I just place it in the corner just to give me an idea of where everything should line up. So all the corners will be even. Then I start with a smaller wood piece and then I glue that down first. After that, I use a couple of little wood blocks as spacers to help keep everything evenly spaced before gluing down the larger piece. One thing I do kind of regret is not trimming the wood to go all the way to the edge of the frame. That way it could have been a double-sided frame, but you know what? I could always go back and add something later to finish it off. And of course, once everything is glued down, I will go over the whole thing with some paint just to give a nice clean back. So this frame is done, and there are so many ways you could use it, and I'm going to be tying the wreath with a lace ribbon onto it, and it just looks so beautiful together. You can also decorate it in different ways. You could attach some flowers or greenery and turn it into a large frame wreath like I did here. I think that would look really beautiful, leaning on a shelf or styled on a mantle. I saw this detailed pillar candle holder at the thrift store and I immediately had ideas for it. It has all these carved, layered details from Hobby Lobby. It was half off, so I paid about $1.50 for it. And so I want to attach a small wood round on the top of the holder, and these round wood packs are from Dollar Tree. I'm also using this bamboo hoop to build up the edge a little and make the wood look thicker. And it's a perfect fit for the medium wood round. So I'm applying some wood glue along the hoop, and then I'm just attaching that on top of the wood round. I turn it over and then I place something heavy on top while it dries. Okay, so while that is drying, I'm giving the holder a light coat of paint just to clean it up a bit. I really liked the original color and I wanted the wood round to match, so I thought this chalk paint would be a close match, and it actually was. Honestly, I probably didn't even have to paint it. It would have matched the top perfectly, but I went ahead and it really gave it a nice clean finish. After painting the candle holder, I'll be giving the wood round with the attached hoop that same coat of paint. You know what though, I think this would have also been so beautiful if I stained the wood instead of painting it. It would have added a little warmth and contrast, and it probably would have highlighted all those carved details on the base even more, instead of everything blending into one painted look. But regardless, it still turned out really pretty. Now this is completely optional, but before gluing the round to the candle holder, I wanted to add a little height since the hoop kind of covers a little bit of the details on the candle holder, and so I'll be using this little wood round piece, and this is from a Dollar Tree hanging decor that I pulled apart. So to attach, I decided to apply some wood glue on the candle holder and then attach it to the wood round, making sure it's centered. And this one is all done. A while back, I picked up this really beautiful glass vase for half off at my local thrift store. I love the shape of it. It has these really nice rounded curves and that soft, almost sculpted look to it. But it did have a lot of scratches on it, which made it the perfect vase for a makeover. So I'm going to give it more of a textured pottery look. For this one, I'm using some joint compound to give the vase more of an aged pottery style texture. I start off with gloves, just applying it with my hands, spreading it around the vase and working it into the surface. I'm letting some of the texture build up while making sure the whole vase is covered. I'm kind of going horizontally with it, but you can go in any direction or create any pattern you want. Now, I'm not trying to make it smooth or perfect. I really want that texture to show through. And this was actually really fun to do. I switched to a brush, especially around the narrow neck and the top opening, just to help get into those tighter areas. Now, I didn't want to leave it just plain white, although I could have, but I decided to dry brush a little bit of gold metallic paint over it here and there just to see how it looks, but I ended up not liking it as much as I thought I would, so I decided to switch directions and give the whole face a coat of that khaki chalk paint, which has more of that grayish taupe finish. So I'm just applying that all over, and I'm using this Dollar Tree paintbrush, which is shedding a little on me, but I'm just making sure to give the whole vase a nice even coat, including around the top opening. To add some dimension, I'm dry brushing a little white over the raised parts of the vase, and this really starts to bring out all that texture. It just highlights those little ridges and details and gives it more of that aged pottery look. Once that's completely dry, I'll go over the vase with a matte spray sealer just to help protect the finish and keep everything nice and durable. And with that, we are done. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you made it to the end and which one was your favorite. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I have more videos coming your way. Until next time, bye!